There's a turning point, a quiet revelation, when a woman grows weary of almost chosen, almost held in priority, almost respected, almost loved in the way her spirit has always whispered is possible. She does not lack capacity to love. She does not lack beauty or depth or devotion. But she begins to see a recurring story. Men are drawn to her light, but do not build a home within it. They flirt with her potential, but do not commit to its fulfillment. They lean on her strength, but do not shield it. They remember her in moments of solitude, but forget her when drafting their future. And one day, she sits in her own stillness and declares, "I will no longer be treated as a contingency. If I am to be in a man's life, I will be his treasure, not a temporary tenant." Carl Jung would recognize this as the day she stops living from her wounded persona, the mask that performed for scraps, and begins to speak from her soul. The part of her that knows she was not born to plead for love, but to become its embodiment. To be a luxury is not about aloofness or impossible standards. It is about cultivating a life that echoes one core reality. I am not easily exchanged because I do not mimic the world around me. Before we explore the habits that create this reality, take a breath with me. If you have ever felt yourself fading into the background of someone's attention, accommodating their half-hearted interest, minimizing your own depths, and a part of you is now firmly saying enough, claim the word luxury in the comments below. Let be a silent pact with your own being. I am ready to cease being a secondary character in my own story. And if you find this message arriving just when you need it, consider liking this video and subscribing for more guidance. At the end, a special playlist will be waiting. Save it, and tonight, as you prepare for sleep, let it play softly. Your body will rest, but your subconscious will listen, absorb, and choose you anew. Now, let us explore 7 feminine habits that quietly transform you from an option into a revelation. This woman is rare. I cannot treat her carelessly. The first shift is from proving to simply being. There's a form of feminine energy perpetually auditioning, proving she is worthy, proving she is easygoing, proving she is resilient beyond measure. So she overexplains, overextends, and overaccommodates. She responds instantly, dismisses slights, and mistakes patience for settling. Jung would identify this as the persona, the mask fashioned for acceptance. A luxury woman does not reside there. Her fundamental habit is an inner transformation. She ceases to use her energy to convince anyone of her value. She uses it to live from that value. This means she does not reply to messages to prove her availability, but when she genuinely wishes to connect. She does not laugh off disrespect to seem chill. She calmly states her boundary. She does not list her virtues. Her presence conveys them. A woman who has stopped proving carries a serene assurance that is captivating because most people are bargaining for worth. She is not. And when a man encounters a woman who is not auditioning for him, his own energy must shift. He realizes he cannot merely recite lines. He must demonstrate character. She is not persuading him to choose her. She is discerning if he belongs in her world. That is luxury. The second habit is to set boundaries without turning your heart to stone. Some women, after years of being treated as optional, become fortified. They build walls, play games, and numb their tenderness. Jung would say this is merely another mask, the opposite side of the same wound. A luxury woman cultivates a different practice. She establishes boundaries that are soft in spirit, but firm in action. Her heart remains open, but her life is not open territory. She does not permit inconsistent energy to reside without cost in her nervous system. If he only reaches out late at night, she does not reward that pattern with her attention. If he showers her with intensity, then vanishes, she does not pursue. She lets him drift, for she is unavailable for emotional turbulence. Her habit is straightforward. I do not participate in dynamics that require me to abandon myself. She needs no dramatic pronouncements. A man intuitively feels this. He learns her compassion is warm, but not blind to his immaturity. He cannot transgress her limits and retain her grace. In a world trained to tolerate, a woman who can say no without malice is a luxury. The third habit is to keep your mystery by nurturing a life that does not orbit him. There's a vast difference between being open and being consumed. When a woman feels incomplete alone, she often makes a man her entire universe. Her mood hinges on his communication, her worth on his attention. Jung would say she is projecting her unlived life onto him. A luxury woman lives differently. She maintains a rich, textured existence with or without a partner. She has passions not curated for his appeal, friendships that feed her soul, and goals that spark her purpose. When he messages, she is pleased, but she was not waiting in an empty room. He enters a life already in motion. This creates organic mystery, not manufactured games. She reveals herself in layers as trust deepens. Mystery here is not manipulation. It is self-respect. The habit is this. She does not abandon her own narrative to become a subplot in his. And that makes her unforgettable, for it is rare to meet a woman who can love deeply while remaining wholly herself. That is luxury. The fourth habit is to regulate your emotions instead of making him your regulator. Our culture often mistakes chaos for passion, anxiety for depth. A woman unanchored in herself will look to a man to steady her storms. A slight shift in his tone becomes a crisis. His need for space becomes abandonment. Her nervous system depends on his validation. Jung would say her inner child is steering the relationship. A luxury woman learns to self-soothe. She takes responsibility for her emotional world. When anxiety beckons her to send frantic texts, she pauses. She breathes, writes, or calls a friend. She feels her triggers and asks, is this about him or an old wound? This is not emotional suppression, it is stewardship. A man feels this as stability. He can be honest without fearing an explosion. He can have his own struggles without it dismantling her peace. In a world of constant reactivity, a woman who can hold herself with grace is rare. She becomes a sanctuary. That is luxury. The fifth habit is to speak the truth of what you want without apology. Many women hide their true desires, fearing they are too much. They claim to be fine with casual when they long for devotion. They minimize their standards to seem easygoing. Jung would call this a split, a self-betrayal. A luxury woman practices clarity, even when her voice trembles. She can say, I am seeking something intentional and committed. If that is not your path, I understand, but this will not suit me long term. She does not issue ultimatums. She states her reality. Then, she aligns her actions with that truth. If he shows he wants convenience, she believes him and moves accordingly. This honesty is a filter. It saves her precious energy and allows a man who is ready to recognize her. A woman who can stand in her authentic desire without shrinking or demanding is unforgettable. She would rather walk in truth than contort herself for false companionship. That is luxury. The sixth habit is to honor your body and energy as sacred resources. The feminine being is physical, intuitive, and energetic. When a woman does not see her own worth, she gives this all away cheaply, confusing access for intimacy. Jung would say she is scattering herself to fill a void. A luxury woman treats herself as sacred, not scarce. Sacred means not everyone earns entry to her physical or energetic space. She asks, does my body feel safe? Does my intuition feel calm? Is my energy nourished or depleted after our time? If the answer is consistently no, she does not override her own wisdom out of loneliness. She is generous with her warmth, but discerning with her vulnerability. A man feels this distinction. He understands that closeness is a privilege granted to consistency and safety. In a world of disconnection, a woman deeply attuned to and respectful of her own vessel is rare. Her presence becomes a gift, not a given. That is luxury. The seventh and final habit is to live in partnership with something greater than him. A woman becomes an option when she makes a man her entire universe. Her purpose orbits his presence. When he withdraws, her world collapses. Jung would say she has surrendered her inner authority. A luxury woman has a deeper anchor. Her relationship with the divine, her soul, her calling. This does not make her remote. It makes her rooted. Her habit is to return to that connection. When uncertain, she asks not only what he thinks, but what her spirit knows. When lonely, she turns inward as well as outward. This spiritual foundation changes how she loves. She does not cling from emptiness. She chooses from abundance. She does not assign a man the impossible role of her soul source. A man may not name it, but he feels it. This woman is grounded in something eternal. She does not worship him, so he can relax and be truly seen. In a world of frantic attachment, a woman anchored beyond romance is a luxury, for she loves you deeply but will not lose her soul in you. If you're still listening, this is for you. You may feel both a sting of recognition and a spark of hope. That spark is your truest self-awakening. You're not diminished by past seasons of accepting less. You are operating from old instructions, the fear of solitude, the belief your needs were burdensome. Jung would say your attraction to this message means your soul is stirring. The woman who tolerates being an option and the woman who moves as a luxury are not two different people. They're different depths of you, one constructed by fear, the other by conscious alignment. Every choice you make from today forward, every time you pause instead of chase, speak truth instead of perform, honor your no, or reconnect with your own spirit, you step closer to that luxury essence. You're not becoming someone new. You are removing everything that made you believe you were anything less than rare. If your soul is whispering its readiness, claim the word luxury once more. Mark this silent decision. I will not live beneath my own truth again. If this resonated, like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Tonight, do not scroll through memories that made you feel small. Let the playlist on the end screen play as you drift into sleep. Your body will rest, but your subconscious will listen, release the old belief that you must beg to be chosen, and anchor these habits of strength and softness. Fall asleep to these words. Let them sink from your mind into your spirit, until one day you observe your own life, your own love, and realize you no longer fight to be an exception in someone's story. You have become the woman whose very essence makes it clear to all, and most importantly to yourself, that you are always a luxury, never an option.